right, listen carefully now. I have a couple questions to ask you, and I'm going to share a quotation with you. My question has to do with change. How well do you handle change? What do you do with it? And better yet, are you a force that causes change in this world, in the lives of other people more specifically? Because that's what we're really going to get to here. There was a pastor back in the early 20th century up in the New Jersey, New York area. His name was Harry Emerson Fosdick. And he once said, Christians aren't merely supposed to endure change, nor to even profit by it, but to cause it. And I've dwelled on that quote for some time now and thought about it because I myself am a Christian. And so because he's specifically talking about Christians, it's relative to me. But I want to emphasize to you here that even if you do not believe in Christianity, even if you do not ascribe to that way of thinking or that way of believing, this is still applicable to you. This is still very relative because everybody can endure change. Anybody can profit by it, but not necessarily everybody affects it. Not necessarily everybody affects it. Do you understand what I'm saying? Well, not in the sense that you are a positive force of change. I would say that everybody actually is everybody does effect change, just not in this way necessarily. And so I want to pick this apart a little bit. Let's suss it out and think about this, because as you get to be older, you're going to understand that change is inevitable. It's unavoidable, but it is powerful, and it doesn't have to control you. You can actually use it and leverage it to your benefit. Now, first of all, he says that Christians aren't supposed to merely endure change. Change is something, like I said, that's inevitable. We all have to go through it. And some people just merely endure it. They can't help but endure it. These are the people who suffer. They are survivors, but they do suffer. They don't really embrace it, and they don't really learn from it. It's not a teachable tool for them, and it doesn't become anything that wisdom is derived from, and therefore it can't be passed on to anybody else. But everybody can and does endure change. Now, change comes in many forms. Change comes in just with getting older itself. Change comes with switching careers. Change comes with just changing up your routine and pattern throughout your day to accommodate the other things that are changing in your life. You go from being single to being married, from being married to having children, from just having children who you cart around in a car seat, to a stroller, to them walking on their own, to them becoming a little more independent, to them becoming too independent. And then they go to school, and then they go to college, and all these things involve change. But then sometimes your career changes. Sometimes things change for the better. Sometimes they change for the worse. And so you have to learn how to gain some kind of perspective on it that is not going to make you crumble underneath it. So it's important to do more than just endure change. You see, it's good to embrace it. It's good to know that it's coming. And even if you don't like it, even if you don't like what it implies, you have to understand that's going to happen, and you will get through it. It's important to know that you will. It's important to know that you can outlast it. But it's also important to know that you need to do them more than just outlast it. Okay? So he also said it's not for us just to profit by it. There's nothing wrong with profiting by change. In fact, it's absolutely crucial to profit by it. One of the things I've learned in life is that no matter what you go through, no matter what you are exposed to, no matter what you have to endure, no matter what kind of change finds its way into your life, it's very important to ask yourself, how can I make this work to my advantage? No matter what it is, you don't allow things to infiltrate your life, and don't allow negative things to be a pervasive force upon you without asking yourself, how can I use this to my advantage? How can I profit from it? Because I guarantee you, if you are going through some kind of change in your life right now that you don't necessarily like, and a lot of people don't like change. They really don't. A lot of people like things to stay the way they are. But these are the cowards. These are the people who don't want to come out of their shell. They don't want to come out of their house. They don't want to come out of their personality. Do you know what I mean by that? Think about it. They don't want to make any kind of change whatsoever. They want things to stay the same because they're so insecure. But that may not be you. So whenever you have a force of change impinging upon your life and you don't necessarily like it, ask yourself, how can I take advantage of it? How can I make it work to my benefit? How can it profit me? And so that's extremely important to do, because we don't have to do that with the things that affect us in a positive way. It's quite apparent. It's quite obvious. And then he says that we're not only supposed to profit by it. There's nothing wrong with profiting by it, but that's not all we're supposed to do with it. We endure it. We may profit from it. But more importantly, we are to cause it. Now remember, he was saying this to Christians. So why was he saying this to Christians particularly? Now this may not interest you if you're not a Christian. If you just are one of these people who hates Christians, that's fine. That's fine. I get it. And I partly understand why, depending upon whatever a multitude of reasons you might give. Your experiences might have been negative. But just remember that not everything that represents itself as Christianity or as a Christian is necessarily so. They are not. Much of what you see in this world with the label Christian on it is not. I would say most of what you see in this world that labels itself as a Christian or Christianity is not at all. But regardless of how you feel about it, just remember this. We are to be the ones that effect change. And you can too, even if you're not a Christian. Because you do anyway. You do anyway. If you're a person who doesn't embrace change, you are affecting change in somebody else's life, because other people have to adjust because you're not adjusting. They have to make up for what you're unwilling to do. They have to pick up the pieces that you've dropped. They have to be able to handle situations that you're unwilling to assume. And so everybody affects change. But let's talk about affecting change for the positive. Everybody affects change. But how can you be a positive force of change in this world? Well, keep in mind that because he was talking about Christianity, he was talking directly about how your life causes change and has an effect in somebody else's life, because it's all about relationships. If you can embrace change, make it work to your advantage, you can not only change your life, but you can be a force of change in everybody else's life around you. How do you do that? You do that through your behavior. I'm speaking specifically to behavior because I want to imply that, and not just imply, but I want to come right out and say that you don't have to have a lot of money to create change. You don't have to have a high title, a great position in life. You don't have to be privileged. You don't have to be necessarily much of anything in the way of worldly esteem at all to affect change. You can affect change simply by your behavior. by being kind, by being honest, by being humble, by being modest, by listening, by being attentive, by being wise, by standing up for yourself and showing people how you ought to be treated. This is absolutely crucial, because being someone of high moral character and virtue does not mean you're a pushover. You need to be wise, yet harmless at the same time. You need to be someone who knows how to treat others well without being walked on yourself. It's very important to understand how to handle it when someone treats you disrespectfully, is unkind to you. You need to be diplomatic. You need to be gracious, but you also need to be firm, and you need to show people how you deserve to be treated. Now, understand that it doesn't mean that you are high and mighty. It doesn't mean that you're better than someone else and that they need to treat you better than they would treat themselves, but you expect mutual respect. And so there's that. But it's good to be gracious. It's good to be merciful. It's good to think positive. It's good to look for the benefit in things and embrace those things. It's good to endure hardship without complaining. It's good to stick to a plan, to stick to a task and see it through. It's good not to follow the crowd. It's good to question things. It's good to question authority. It's good to be wise. It's good to read and digest wisdom. It's good to listen to others. And I probably already said that. See, I haven't really planned this video out, so I am speaking kind of impromptu. So if I've left things out that you wish would have been mentioned, you can put it in the comment section. And so I just wanted to give this to you to think about today, about change. How do you handle it? Do you endure it? Do you profit from it? But more importantly, are you a force of change yourself in a positive, life-altering way in the lives of other people? Because this really does come down to relationships. And if you do this, you will not be forgotten. You will not be forgotten, and your life will have been lived in the most worthy way. And you can put your head in the pillow at night knowing that you did the right thing. You endured it. You were able to find the advantages in hardship and change, and you have an attitude that what you do makes a difference. Guys, that's what I have for you today. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. It does help me. And hit the notification bell. I will see you in the next one. Have a great day. Bye-bye.